The rain had finally stopped, leaving the temporary camp quiet except for the soft shuffle of boots and the distant hum of engines cooling down. Private Ethan Moore had spent the entire day moving stretchers, cleaning instruments, and trying not to think too hard about the war outside the canvas walls of the medical tent. Near the entrance, a young German woman POW sat alone on a wooden crate. She wasn't crying, she wasn't shouting. She simply held her left arm close to her body, as if afraid it might fall apart if she let go. Ethan noticed her only because she didn't ask for help. Most prisoners did. He approached slowly, hands visible, voice calm. "You're safe here," he said. "Are you hurt?" She hesitated. Her eyes flicked toward the guards, then back to him. Finally, in careful broken English, she whispered, "It burns when you touch it." Ethan knelt beside her. The sleeve of her uniform was neatly buttoned, cleaner than the rest of her clothes. That alone made his stomach tighten. "May I look?" he asked. She shook her head immediately. Too fast, too sharp. "No, it's nothing, please." Ethan had treated enough wounded to recognize fear that didn't come from pain alone. He gently reached toward her arm, but stopped the moment her breathing changed. "Hey," he said softly, "I won't hurt you." Her voice trembled now. "Please, don't pull it." That was when he realized something was wrong. Very wrong. Whatever was under that sleeve, she was more afraid of it being seen than of the pain itself. Ethan withdrew his hand and stood up. "I'll get a female medic," he promised. "You don't have to explain anything yet." As he turned away, she caught his wrist. Her grip was weak, but desperate. "If you look," she whispered, eyes shining with panic, "you will not see me the same." Ethan froze. In that moment, he understood this wasn't just an injury. It was a secret she had carried through the collapse of an army, through capture, through days of silence. And soon, whether she wanted it or not, someone was going to uncover it. The female medic arrived quietly, closing the canvas flap behind her. The guards were told to wait outside. The room felt smaller now. The woman sat stiffly, her eyes fixed on the floor. Her breathing was shallow, as if every breath hurt. Ethan stood near the table, not touching anything, not saying a word. "You're safe," the medic said gently. "No one here will punish you." That was when the woman finally nodded. Her fingers trembled as she began to unbutton the sleeve herself, slowly, painfully. When the fabric loosened, the medic froze. The skin beneath wasn't bruised the way Ethan expected. It was angry, inflamed, scarred in uneven lines, as if something had burned and healed, then burned again. The woman flinched the moment the air touched it. "I hit it," she whispered. "If they see, they think I am weak." The medic shook her head. "This isn't weakness." Ethan swallowed hard. He had seen battlefield wounds, shrapnel, burns, infection. This was different. "Does it hurt all the time?" the medic asked. The woman nodded once. "But worse when touched. Worse when remembered." Silence filled the room. Then she said the words she had been holding back since capture. "Please, don't tell the others. I don't want them to look at me like I am broken." The medic gently covered the arm again, slower than before, with care that felt almost ceremonial. "You're not broken," she said. "You survived." Ethan realized then that whatever had happened to her didn't end with the war. It had followed her into captivity, and now into this room. The medic finished wrapping the arm and stepped back. No blood, no open wounds. Yet the room felt heavier than before. Ethan broke the silence carefully. This didn't happen in combat, did it?" The woman shook her head without looking up. "No," she whispered. "Not battle." The medic exchanged a glance with Ethan. They both understood what she wasn't saying. "It happened before capture?" the medic asked. A long pause, then a nod. Her voice was almost gone when she spoke again. In a place where no one asked questions, where pain was normal. Ethan clenched his jaw. He had heard rumors during the advance east, things soldiers didn't like to repeat. "We don't need details," the medic said quickly, sensing the woman retreating into herself. "You've told us enough." But the woman lifted her eyes for the first time. "I thought Americans would be worse," she admitted. "I thought you would shout or laugh." Ethan shook his head slowly. No, we're not here for that. Outside the tent, boots passed. Voices laughed. Life moved on, oblivious. Inside, something had shifted. Ethan realized this wasn't just about treating an injury anymore. It was about what happens when the war stops, but the damage doesn't. The woman pulled her sleeve down fully now, smoothing the fabric like armor. "If they ask," she said quietly, "tell them I fell. Tell them anything." Ethan met her eyes. "We won't lie," he said, "but we won't expose you either." For the first time since she'd arrived, her shoulders relaxed. Just a little. Not because the pain was gone, but because she finally believed she wouldn't face it alone. Later that evening, Ethan was called outside the tent. The camp commander stood near a lantern, reading a short medical note. No names, no details. Just one line circled in pencil. "Non-combat injury. Requires continued care." "That yours?" the commander asked. Ethan nodded. "Yes, sir." The officer looked up. "You didn't include much." Ethan swallowed. There wasn't much to include. Long pause followed. Then the commander folded the paper and handed it back. "Good," he said quietly. "Some things don't belong in reports." Ethan exhaled without realizing he'd been holding his breath. Back inside, the woman sat alone, staring at the floor. She looked up the moment Ethan entered. "They know," she said. "They know you need care," he replied. "Nothing else." She studied his face, searching for cracks, for lies. Finding none, she nodded. "You didn't have to say anything," she whispered. "I know," Ethan said. "That's why I didn't." For the first time, she allowed herself to lean back against the wall, exhausted. Not defeated. Outside, the war continued to move forward. Inside that tent, something smaller, but just as important, had been protected. Her dignity and her choice. The next morning, the camp was already moving again. Trucks rumbled. Orders were shouted. Another day of war doing what war always did, pushing people forward before they were ready. The woman stood near the tent entrance, her sleeve neatly buttoned, her posture straighter than before. The pain hadn't disappeared, but something else had changed. Ethan handed her a small slip of paper, a follow-up note. "Extra care approved." "No questions," he said. "You'll be checked again tomorrow." She took it carefully, as if it might tear. "Thank you," she said, then paused. "For not asking me to explain." Ethan shook his head. "Some things don't need explaining to be real." A guard called her name. She turned to go, then stopped. "You were the first person," she said quietly, "who touched that arm, and didn't make it worse." Ethan felt the words settle heavier than any metal ever could. As she walked away, blending back into the slow line of prisoners, he realized something that would stay with him long after the war ended. Not every wound bleeds. Not every injury belongs in a report, and sometimes the most important thing a soldier can do is choose restraint. The canvas flap fell shut. The camp moved on, but the silence left behind was different now.